Oh, just a gorgeous night in southern Manitoba for a football game. Second meeting in less than a month between the Ottawa REDBLACKS and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. The dynamic early this year is a little bit different, Glenn Suter, because Ottawa's in with a winning record. The Bombers haven't won yet. They've had a slew of injuries that have really hurt them, the latest to their star quarterback, Zach Collaros.
Yeah, Zach was hurt in that game in Calgary last week, so the starting quarterback tonight for the Bombers will be Chris Streveler. Bomber fans know Streveler well. He can beat you with his legs and his arm. Last week threw the first touchdown pass of the season for the Bombers in that OT loss. This is start number 7 for former Bomber Drew Brown, who has not only stabilized the quarterback position in Ottawa, he has led the REDBLACKS to a 2-1 start to the season.
It's a trip home for REDBLACKS head coach Bob Dice. He's from Winnipeg and has coached here at all levels, including as an assistant with the Bombers, and for Mike O'Shea in his 10th season as Winnipeg's head coach, and in some ways the most challenging. But they say they have stayed optimistic. Some close losses and looking for that first win tonight. They won the toss. They want the ball, and they're getting it too with Chris Smith, newcomer on the return side for Winnipeg, as he is taken down up at the 30. Just a little bit across, Smith gets it. So here comes Chris Streveler. His first start since October 19th, 2019.
12 starts total for Streveler in the Canadian Football League. He's 4-8 in his career. But yeah, you mentioned he last week came off the bench in relief of Zach Collaros, who was injured, hit in the solar plex area, and will not even dress for this one tonight. Streveler gets the start, tied that game up, took it to overtime, and Calgary finished it.
And with that, they fell to 0-4. So looking to change that tonight at home. Handing off in the first play, it's Brady Oliveira. Started at the 33, picked up about 5 yards, and a second down coming up as we take a look at that Winnipeg starting offense.
Well, you got to believe that with Streveler at quarterback and Brady Oliveira, they want to get him going. They got to harden the edges, and that means the tackles Eric Lofton and Stanley Bryant have to play their best game of the season on the outside. Wolodarski was the receiver in the Bombers' first touchdown throw of the season in that overtime game. It wasn't Collaros who threw it to him. It was actually his old college teammate, Chris Streveler.
Backfield clears. A quick throw to Oliveira, who finds the first down. He gets it up across the 45, so 2 touches right away for Oliveira, who did not play 3 weeks ago against the REDBLACKS in Ottawa.
Just a quick throw to the flat to get their offense started, get that first down under their belt. I thought that Chris Streveler was a little off in the passing game when he came on for Collaros initially, and then slowly settled in and looked better as that game went on.
So 2 plays and a first down up across the 45 for Streveler in the Bomber offense. Back in the ground, Oliveira again. First contact, he pushes through that. And a good pickup on first down as he gets it up to midfield. It'll be second and short facing the Ottawa defense.
Well, star of that defense up front, of course, is Lorenzo Malden. He's got 2 sacks on the season. Be important in run stopping and hardening the edge for them on defense to stop both Streveler and Oliveira rushing the ball. Darius Pickett, to me, maybe one of the best Sam linebackers in the league. And the last time these 2 teams played, Alonzo Adai had a pick.
Well, this is something Streveler's used to. He stays in at short yardage. Good running, power running quarterback who needed a couple of yards and does get it to move the sticks. Another first down for Winnipeg.
Well, one thing that the REDBLACKS know defensively is that with Streveler, who loves to run the football as much as he does throw it, Baron Miles knows that, and he'll likely load the box, especially with Brady Oliveira, and try and run blitz and fill all the gaps, at least on first down, and make sure they get him in second and long and force Streveler to throw it down the field.
That's what you'd think the REDBLACK defense would want to do when you get a running back like Oliveira and a running quarterback like Streveler, who hands off to Oliveira, who trips right away, just falling across midfield. No one made contact as he took the handoff. He just tripped, the shoe caught an edge, and down he went.
He did trip, but on the play, I saw Javon Santos-Knox. He's hugging the line of scrimmage. That middle linebacker, he's coming up. But we have some good linebackers in the Canadian Football League, don't we? Last night, a couple of good ones going at it. You see the trip between Streveler and Brady Oliveira there.
just tripped on his quarterback's foot. So it's a 2nd and 11, a loss of 1. Passing down, pressure coming, gets rid of it, and it's caught 2 at the Ottawa 45. That goes into the hands of Ontario Wilson, and they're asking more from this young receiver with all the injuries they've had.
And I think Michael O'Shea wanted a better spot than he got. He thought there was forward progress beyond that. It looks like 3rd and 2 or maybe even 3. He's leaving the offense out there. It's a good sign for Bomber fans that Streveler was on time with that out throw. And I heard Matt Dunnigan before the game mention that Streveler getting the first team reps in practice this week is really going to help him get a good start tonight.
Bring in an extra offensive lineman, Tui Eli at the top. It's a 3rd and 2 now at the Ottawa 45 for Streveler. First possession. Faking and gets the first down and more. Streveler. Oh, he can run, and he does take it down inside the Ottawa 20.
This is what you can do when you've got a great running back that's going to influence the defensive end. Watch how that end crashes down for Ottawa. Streveler reads it. He's riding and deciding here. He pulls it quickly, and now Lorenzo Malden is in a bind.
And that is a 27-yard pickup for Chris Streveler. That dimension of running, dangerous against the Ottawa defense. Out of the gun now and a first down, and back to the ground now with Oliveira, who meets a wall of red, black, and white and doesn't pick up much in that first down play.
Yeah, Darius Pickett played that nicely. He stepped up in there and leads his team in total tackles. He also will add to his tackle totals throughout the season on the special teams. But one of those great Sam linebackers that has to cover and run with receivers or play the run when Brady Oliveira gets the ball.
Did it very well with Toronto last year, and the Alouettes a couple of years before that. 2nd and 9. And he wants to take off again and nowhere to go. Michael Wakefield says no. That door is closed. Lost yardage, and the field goal unit will come on for Winnipeg.
Wakefield, little stunt up front, just going to crisscross with the defensive tackle and get in the backfield. No escape lane for Streveler there.
The ball will be put down at the 29 for Sergio Castillo, who had a 60-yarder last week at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. And this one is perfect. Castillo missed for 2 field goals in opening night. He hasn't missed since. And now comes Drew Brown. He used to call this home. He's faced the Bombers before, but not here back in.
As a starter back in Winnipeg, he had 3 of those 6 starts, and that would happen because of the Bombers' success. That late in the season, he would get a couple starts when Zach Collaros was rested. But the most remarkable stat on that board is his touchdown to interception ratio, and he's really stabilized the quarterback position. 17 TDs, just 3 picks.
And beyond the numbers, they praise his poise in a game-winning drive last week against Hamilton, too. That's off to the side for Dominic Grimes, only at 1 catch for 4 yards. Last week in the victory over the Hamilton Tiger Cats, gets one there early.
Yeah, that's really the difference when and the quarterback not only gives you hope that you can win because of what he can do athletically and all those things, but he's protecting the football, being smart with the football, not giving it away, not shortening the field with a bunch of turnovers. Now, I hope we didn't jinx him, but I'm just saying 17-3 is outstanding.
Terrific ratio. 2nd and 8 now in the Ottawa 42. He's flushed out. He has time. Ali Fayed closing in, but he just takes off. Tries to get the ball as close as he can to first down yardage. Well shy, though. Yeah, headed out of bounds, about 3 yards shy.
Both of these quarterbacks, and both last night as well, both young guns, not a lot of starts under their belt, but both are very athletic. I mean, we know Streveler and what he can do running the ball, and Drew Brown has got some speed.
So is the man you just saw, 26 blue, Chris Smith. They're trying to get some life into that return game. They tried Myron Mitchell before in replacing Janarian Grant, who left for the Argos as a free agent. Now Smith. The potential to be electric, but just not there. Great coverage on the punt by Alonzo Adai, who takes him down just inside the Winnipeg 20. Good first impression for Chris Streveler and his first start in fun. Look beyond the passing, Glenn. How about the rushing?
Yeah, when you look at that, over 1,000 yards rushing and 22 rushing touchdowns, that's the part that you can really get in a bind defensively. You know, first of all, the moment he gets outside the pocket and is a runner or thrower on the edge, DBs don't know whether to come up and help tackle him or stay back in coverage. It makes it very difficult to defend. Look at him go.
The handoff. Here we go. And a quick toss, too, to Ontario Wilson.
There it is.
Little play fake, but a flag comes out. Was he over the line of scrimmage when he threw the ball?
Yeah, he may have been. I think that's what Ottawa is trying to draw the officials' attention to get up there. It was very close. But that's an example of what he can do. He gets outside there, and if you don't keep him in the pocket and keep him contained, that dual threat kicks in, and now DBs and linebackers aren't sure to come up and help on the tackle or stay back in cover.
Legal interference blocking downfield, Winnipeg number 82. It's a 10-yard penalty, remains first down.
So no, he was fine. It was the illegal block.
Well, they thought, you know, in fairness to the receivers downfield trying to block for him, they thought he was running too. And then he just changed his mind at the last second.
Drew Wolotarski is called for the illegal block downfield. So it's a 1st and 20 in the 10-yard penalty, pushing it back to the Winnipeg 10. Early on here at Princess Auto Stadium in a 3-0 Blue Bomber lead. Flag has come out. Looks like a freebie for Winnipeg, and it's complete to Wolotarski. Got the penalty, gets the ball up across the 25, and this looks like it's going against the Red Blacks.
Offside. Ottawa defense. Penalties decline. 2nd down.
See the early movement by Ottawa in that, right in that A gap. That would be the weak A on that hash mark between the center and the guard, and a nice throw over the middle. Wolotarski just clearing the linebacker.
We've seen that combination before in the first go-round, as well as last week in Calgary between Streveler and Wolotarski. So back to the ground, and Brady Oliveira, who hasn't had a lot of yardage compared to his usual standard so far this season. A flag does come out, but Oliveira coming in just 128 yards heading into this game.
Well, I think what's most surprising about Oliveira's start to the season, first of all, he's been nicked.
Yeah.
He came out of camp, didn't have a full training camp, so he's just trying to get his legs underneath him, and has over the last couple of weeks. But the average is down. Now there's a different dynamic.
15-yard misconduct penalty. Ottawa number 27. It's 15 yards. First down.
Wow. The veteran Sherrod Baltimore called on this.
Well, let's take a look. You see right in the middle of your screen there is just a push and a. Right now they're kind of going back and forth, and there's that's the second one through the penalty.
Baltimore, the veteran with Ottawa, who had stayed in the city even though he didn't have a new deal with the Red Blacks and all the injuries they had in the corner. They brought him back a couple of weeks ago. A little play fake and throwing, it's incomplete.
That may have been tipped, but just get back to that thought with Brady Oliveira and his slow start to the season. And we mentioned his injuries, not to give him an alibi or an excuse, but there's also a new dynamic going on in Winnipeg with Chris Streveler in the lineup. Even when Zach Collaros was healthy, Streveler was taking some of those carries away from Brady Oliveira. He was part of, you know, not just short yardage, but part of their offense. So, you know, 29 carries coming in for Chris Streveler. That's 29 less for Brady Oliveira. It's hard to get in that groove you want to get into.
And it's a 2nd and 10 now, and it's a pass for Oliveira, but in behind him. He had to reach back, but in behind and high and incomplete, and a 3rd and 10 coming up here for Winnipeg.
Well, the first one I thought was tipped at the line, and that one looked like he had a guy right in his kitchen. And that's who was hard to throw around that. Just didn't have the accuracy on that swing pass. You're going to see Zach Collaros go right to number 17 immediately as he come off the field, just to help him as much as possible.
So we'll see Jamison Sheehan, the Australian punter for Winnipeg, standing inside the 30. And Devontae Dedmon, one of the returners for Ottawa, always dangerous. Tobias Harris is back there with them, closest to the ball as Dedmon comes in and a crowd and picks it up. And here he goes. Midfield. Devontae Dedmon. We saw it last week against Hamilton that even in a crowd he's able to make good returns. That much better as they will start inside the Bomber territory, trailing by 3. And their leading receiver, Justin Hardy. Friday Night Football in Winnipeg. Look at Justin Hardy of the Red Blacks, not too far behind.
No, he's not. Had a 100-yard game versus Winnipeg. 9 targets, 7 catches in that one, and a 42-yarder. One of a couple of 100-yard games so far in just 3 starts to this 24 campaign. He's their leader.
And it's in the hands of Raquel Armstead, who carries it inside the 50. Call him Raquel, call him Q, or call him Rock, as many do.
I like Dino Boyd when we look at the starting lineups of the offensive line. He'll likely match up against Willie Jefferson a ton, so he's got to work on that punch to get Jefferson's hands down. He's great at knocking it down, and we just talked about the number 1 receiver for Ottawa. I highlighted Dominic Rhymes because I think he's due. It's been a slow start in Ottawa this year, but I think he's due for a big game.
One of the big signings, along with Drew Brown, coming back to the Red Blacks. 2nd and 6 with time. Escapes the pressure. Full friend Willie Jefferson chasing him. He gets rid of it. Flag comes out. Coming back to the ball was the rookie Nick Martner with Tyrell Ford on him. Let's see as that's incomplete what the flag's all about.
Well, I think the flag was on the coverage on Dominic Rhymes on that play. He ran an out initially.
Legal contact on a receiver. Winnipeg number 31. 10-yard penalty. Makes it a 1st down.
Evan Holm, I believe, was the guy covering Dominic Rhymes, or trying to. Had him initially without any penalty, and then as that play broke down, there's Rhymes on the out. See Evan Holmes coming up, and then he tries to get up there, and he jams him there and grabs the shirt. So that was the scramble rule, well past 5, so you can't make contact past 5 yards from the line of scrimmage. Illegal contact because he wasn't the intended receiver.
So the drive continues to the Winnipeg 39, 1st and 10 for the Ottawa Red Blacks. Trailing by 3, but threatening now. The play fake to Armstead. Setting in. Deep look. It's caught nicely by Jalen Acklin inside the 20. Here come the Red Blacks now with a big 1st down. And Acklin with his 1st catch of this game.
Big catch when you're playing. Excuse me, there he is. He's in between on the trip side, that number 2 receiver, and he's running just a bender inside, but Crombie underneath is looking at the receiver. He doesn't look and turn and look at the throw. Right up above him is Acklin.
He had a breakout game last week against Hamilton. 1st and 10 from the 17. That's back to Armstead, who keeps pushing. Gets down closer to the 10, and a challenge now for this Winnipeg defense.
I highlighted Jake Thomas because at 191 games in the Canadian Football League, 191 tonight, he is now in the top 10 of the longest serving Bombers in the history of the organization. Retta Crombie, who you just saw the underneath coverage there on Acklin, is having a good season. Big interception against Calgary. Tyrell Ford got the 2nd interception of the season for the Bomber defense.
2nd and 5 from the 12. Ottawa Red Blacks threatening. Time for Brown. Big Hill nearly got him. He gets away. Buys himself more time. Looks to the end zone. It is caught. Were his feet in? Dominic Rhymes was the target. No touchdown there. A close one as Brown had got himself more time to try to get Rhymes the TD.
Well, there's a couple things. First of all, you know, when you look at this receiving core, and I talked about Dominic Rhymes, but it's a good group. I mean, he comes back to the ball and is way out of bounds. Part of that was because he got pushed by Diedrich Nichols, but this is a dynamic group. Once they get on the same page, it could be explosive.
Lewis Ward had his first walk-off winner last week against Hamilton. He was 4 for 4. And he's 1 for 1 on this night. First points of the evening for the Ottawa REDBLACKS. They drive down and they tie things up. Drew Brown against his old team.
Let him know he was thinking about him during a tough time. And that was a continuation of last July when Drew's father passed, and O'Shea insisted that Brown go back home to be with his family and to take as much time as he needed to grieve. And Brown says that words can't properly express his gratitude for O'Shea's compassion and empathy. And those gestures came from a shared experience, because nearly 12 years ago, O'Shea was at work when he learned about his dad's passing and immediately left Argos practice to drive up to North Bay to be with his family. Guys.
Very touching story, John. Thank you. And Winnipeg has the ball now, and it's Brady Oliveira. But yeah, to follow up on that, I was going to say that Drew Brown, we're asking about the emotions of coming back to Winnipeg. At first he wouldn't bite, and then I just thought it must mean something to you, and he went into that story. And
well, you know how many times we talk about the culture with the Bombers and what Michael O'Shea has done to create that, to empower his players to take ownership of the locker room. We've talked about it many, many times. That's kind of the core of it. Caring about the person first and the player second.
It's a 2nd and 7 now. Scrambler escapes. Tries to run for a first down. A flag does come out. Had to get it to the 50, and he does, pending the outcome of this flag, though, as Scrambler continues to show how dangerous he can be as a quarterback who can just take off and run.
Well, Frankie Griffin is he's one of the tweener guys, 6 foot, 200 pounds, so he's a great linebacker, but he's one of those guys, again, that has to cover, and he gets in the open field with Strevler. And if you're a DB or a small linebacker and you've got to decide.
Block, Winnipeg number 82. 10-yard penalty, repeat 2nd down.
Oh, Wolodarski got that one, but you got to decide, are you going to take him low? Because if you do, he could jump over you or go around you, because once you go low, you basically stop in your feet. Or do you try and take him on and maybe just, you know, take the hit but pull him down on top of you almost? It's a tough one, because Strevler is a big guy and he gets that pad level low.
That's a big load, big QB bearing down when he takes off. So, but the penalty pushes them back to a 2nd and 17 of the Winnipeg 33. Negated a shot at a first down there. So passing down, pressure coming, and it gets hit at the line of scrimmage, and wisely Eric Lofton just bats it down. The ex-Bomber Javon Santos-Knox coming in, and that's a troubling sight to see how slow Strevler is getting up after he tried to pass it and it was knocked away by Santos-Knox.
Coming off the right side in that sprinter stance. Strevler was real slow to get up after that hit in the back, or on the side of Strevler.
That was Bryce Carter coming in who put the hit on Strevler. So off on the sideline now, and Jamison Sheehan in to punt it for the 2nd time in this game, with Devontae Dedmon back waiting for it near his 40. Heading left, cuts up, good coverage by Winnipeg, and Bailey Veltmate into that special teams tackle. So
looks like Strevler is going to be okay, but let's take another look at that hit and just see. Said Carter came off the edge here. Santos-Knox was the guy who tipped it, but maybe it was the play before, and it's just kind of like this is that's a play before that went up the middle, and he got hit kind of sandwiched in there. He got up a little slow there, almost like he's grabbing like he's got a hip pointer.
Hit by Lorenzo Malden in the right hip in that play before. So a running play here, and we'll see this from time to time when Braylon Addison, a slot back normally, but they will have him line up as running back, and he gets another carry there.
We're going to have to watch Strevler on that, because a hip pointer can really slow you down as a runner.
Which is his biggest weapon. By the way, Collaros will not play tonight. The backup quarterback is Terry Wilson, who has not played yet. His first year out of New Mexico. See if Streveler can come back on. A 2nd and 6 at the Ottawa 44. 4-man rush. Brown gets rid of it, and it is knocked down. A great defensive play by Evan Holm in coverage there for Winnipeg. 3rd down, and the punting unit will come on.
Evan Holm is an all-star. I mean, he is an all-star halfback. He probably still doesn't get enough credit. He's going to just pick up his man from playing off, be right in his hip pocket. It's their top receiver in Justin Hardy, and he is right there to knock it down. Leads the team in tackles too, by the way.
And Hardy still without a catch in this game tonight. So the punt by Richie Leone for Chris Smith at the Winnipeg 20. Breaks 1 tackle. And then coming in, Davion Taylor makes sure he goes no further shy of the 30-yard line. Streveler still on his feet and heading back on. So seems to be just fine. There was one injury concern back in week 1, you recall, against the Alouettes when, of course, Collaros was the #1 quarterback then, but Streveler in on a play and looked to be hurt, but ended up coming in later. He started in his first ever CFL game in June of 2018 against Edmonton right here in this field. Talk about being thrown into the fire back then. This is nothing compared to that. 1st and 10 from the 29. And that is Wilson, Ontario Wilson on that pitch. And that is the final play of quarter number 1. Winnipeg in quarter 3-3 the score. As we look at these numbers, Glenn, still trying to get a feel for how this game is going.
Well, first of all, for Ottawa, only 1 carry for Rock Armstead, and that can really help Drew Brown get things started, get to a little play action. But yeah, these 2 quarterbacks are trying to figure it out, and I think right now they're kind of walking. If they were boxers in the ring right now, they're walking around looking at each other and then going back to their corners, going, "What's going to be the strategy here? What do we got to do to beat this defense?" And just kind of feeling it out right now to figure out exactly how they can attack the opposing defense.
And the opposing quarterbacks share the distinction of being backups to the great Zach Collaros, and I'm sure both learned a lot from that man. Drew Brown, the backup here in Winnipeg last year, and the previous couple of years as well. And of course, when Collaros arrived, and Streveler was still a big part of that Winnipeg offense on their road to the Grey Cup in 2019, which was his last game in the CFL until this season. 2nd and 7 now to start the 2nd quarter. Escaping the heat, taking off, and his running still seems to be just fine as he gets it up near the 40, but there is another flag down, and that would be close to 1st down yardage for Winnipeg.
Oh, first of all, the good news is that the hip or whatever the issue was for Streveler doesn't seem to bother him. He just took off and showed pretty good speed, accelerating.
Holding. Winnipeg number 66. 10-yard penalty. Repeat 2nd down.
But they've done this a few times now. There's been 3 runs that have come back due to holding calls. This is a team that coming into this week ranks second best in penalties in the penalty department. Just 51 yards per game, but they're putting their young quarterback in a hole when they get that holding call and when he takes off to run.
Pushed back to their 22. Early 2nd quarter. Week 5 in the CFL. Red Blacks, Blue Bombers, 2nd and 17 for Streveler in Winnipeg. With 4 rushing. For the middle. It's caught by Josh Johnson. Another player in his first year and getting acclimatized to this offense, getting a chance with all the injuries to the receiving corps of the Blue Bombers. And a little bit of extracurriculars going on after the fact.
Giving her the business in there. You know what? It's a beautiful day here in Winnipeg. A beautiful day for a football game. A little warm.
Sounds like you're going to say everybody just chill.
Yeah, everybody just cool down.
If you were an official getting down there in the middle of all that.
It's beautiful, beautiful night.
It
here
is.
In Manitoba. Nice crowd. And the Bombers looking for win number 1 in week 5. What?
Crazy.
Yeah.
That hasn't happened in many years. They had an 0-4 start the last time they did in 2012. And you heard Laura Dykin say they hadn't started 0-5 since 1998, trying to avoid that tonight. Off the punt by Sheehan. It is taken by Dedman inside the 30 and nowhere to go. Rock Armstead his first year at a Temple. The season-ending injury to Devontae Williams getting a chance, and he's been making the most of it since.
Yeah, 32 carries, 172 yards. You see the average. Kadeem Carey is leading the league in rushing, and Armstead with a better average than Carey. Four carries over 10 yards, and he's got one over 20 yards, which is the big play running the ball. So yeah, just one touch, one run in that first quarter.
He had 51 on the ground and 53 through the air last week in their victory over Hamilton. He has it now, spins around, but Adam Bighill, one of the CFL's greatest tacklers ever, gets another one there, taking him down.
Added to the list, over 900 tackles for Adam Bighill.
His place in the Hall of Fame is waiting patiently.
He could start carving the bust right now. Coming into tonight, 6th place behind Baron Simpson, and look who else is on that list. His coach,
Mike O'Shea. The career he had as a player. 2nd and 9. Eluding the pressure, but it's hit at the line of scrimmage, and it falls to the turf. It's Jake Thomas who got his mitt on that ball thrown by his ex-teammate. So 3rd down, and on comes the punting unit again for Ottawa.
How about these names? Bob Cameron, Troy Westwood, Chris Walby, Stan Mikowas, our guy Milt Stiegel, 199 games for Milt, John Bonk, Ernie Pitts, and in that list is Jake Thomas. As far as all-time Bombers, longest serving Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
He's seen both sides of it. The struggles years ago, but also the glory and the back-to-back Grey Cup wins. Here's Chris Smith. Here we go. He can break it too. Get some daylight as he gets it up across the 45 for Chris Smith. Winnipeg football on a beautiful night at Princess Auto Stadium in a 3-3 tie, 2nd quarter. Going up against that man, Cody Fajardo, and the defending Grey Cup champions, off to a 4-0 start. The Montreal Alouettes. You can watch it tomorrow, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific time.
I'll be locked in. I will be locked in. The Owls heavy favorites in that one. Heavy favorites.
Talk about a boost of confidence. You win a championship and just you feel
keep
the
winning.
belief.
Just keep winning. Just keep it rolling.
It is kept. It is caught. It's a first down. And it's Clarcius. Kevin's Clarcius on the receiving end. One of their top draft picks. He went 13th overall this year in the draft.
Yeah, good strong target, 6'2", over 200 pounds. Clarcius, he also sounds like a Roman emperor. Great name. Dropped it off, and Redblacks had a chance to make the play in the backfield right there, but Streveler beat that rush inside from Mike Wakefield.
Making it happen with his feet too, as he threw on the run. The Clarcius catch and a first down to the Ottawa 45 in a 3-3 tie. Taking the handoff to Oliveira. Streveler rolling for Ontario Wilson, and a flag is out again, and Alaska again. Was he over the line of scrimmage that time? He was awfully close.
That's exactly where the flag was thrown.
Legal forward pass.
Yep.
Winnipeg number 17. It's a 10-yard penalty. Remains first down.
We thought he did that once before, and it was a different penalty.
Well, both the receivers on both these teams are going to have to figure out. You see the line of scrimmage. It's a solid line right at the 45-yard line, and you're slowing it down. There's the line of scrimmage. Keep rolling. I would say 2 yards over. Left his hand.
On that play and the other one we talked about in the first quarter, he's been flirting with that line of scrimmage. Gets called for it there, and a 1st and 20 now, back at midfield. Dumps it off Oliveira. Good yardage afterwards. Good contact too coming in. Frankie Griffin.
That was some good contact right down the sideline here, right below us. And did you notice the booth kind of shook a little bit?
Little vibration.
Yeah.
Feel it up here.
I think DeAndre Lamont is going to face him up right there.
Oh, 38. Lamont in with the hit, and Griffin is right there as well.
Yeah.
28 and 38, but both hard hitting. Yonder Lamont, and playing on the corner in the boundary side with all the injuries in that position the Red Blacks have had to endure early on. 2nd and 10 at the Ottawa 45. Some heat coming. Strebler gets away. Leon Lang was chasing him, and he just ultimately throws it away. So a 3rd down is coming up for Winnipeg.
And right now the strategy for Ottawa when it comes to rushing and getting after Strebler is not necessarily to be cautious on the edges and go slowly. You know how sometimes you'll do that, you'll just spy the quarterback, not really get pressure on him, but not let him escape either. They're not doing that. They're just going full speed upfield. They're running stunts, and they're saying, if you beat us, we'll just try to track you down from behind. And he's still ailing about something over there on the bench.
So this is Castillo trying to go 2 for 2, and
chip shot
for him. It's only 53 and a 60 as mentioned at McMahon last week, and that is just perfect. He missed 2 in week 1. He has not missed since, and the Bombers have restored their 3-point lead here in the 2014, the first ever game for the Ottawa REDBLACKS. Henry Burris, Siobhan Walker, who scored the REDBLACKS' first ever touchdown. They had a big lead suits against Winnipeg until Damon Washington at this kick return touchdown. The Bombers came back. That was Mike O'Shea's second ever game as a head coach, and Winnipeg did win it. And asked O'Shea about it, he had no memory of the game whatsoever.
Well, there was some rough slugging for O'Shea and the Bombers early on his standing. Yeah.
And there's Nigel Romick, a rookie in 2014, the only Red Black remaining from that team from that night. A great career in special teams for Ottawa, and Romick in the lineup for the Red Blacks tonight. But just over 10 years ago exactly, Drew Brown, and just throwing that away on 1st down. But yeah, Mike O'Shea, he got his first ever win against the Argos the week before. Ottawa had the bye, and then the Red Blacks came in for game number 1 in franchise history, and he went 2-0 to start his head coaching career.
I was going to say, but it went a little sideways after that early in his career, and then they stuck with it as he was building the team he wanted to build, and we know what happened since.
Grounding, Ottawa. So lost it down, 2nd down.
Drew Brown threw it away intentionally on that last play, but he must have thrown it out of bounds before it crossed the line of scrimmage. No one around.
By the way, that year 2014, Henry Burris and the Red Blacks won only 2 games. One was against Toronto early, the other when Winnipeg visited the nation's capital later that season. Their 10th season. 2nd and 20 after the penalty. And the pass heads out of bounds, intended that time for Hardy with Reddick Ramsey there, and Brown frustrated heading off on a 2-and-out.
Well, I think right now Drew Brown is dealing with some pretty good coverage in the back end for the Bombers. Their secondary is making the initial play. The routes run by that receiving core initially, not an open target that Drew Brown feels comfortable with just yet. So he's running around with it, waiting for those scramble moves. Beautiful punt by Richie Leone. Taken there by Chris Smith, the 35. More good coverage by Gary Johnson. And the Red Blacks. Bob Dice, a trip back to his home in Winnipeg. John Lou will have that story coming up on Friday night. Winnipeg football, it's him. Let's go back to John.
Yeah, Rod, I guess you could call this Bob Dice's official return to his hometown as a head coach, not on an interim basis in his hometown of Winnipeg. Dice grew up in the southeast end of town, met his wife, who's also from here, started his senior coaching career in 1996 on the staff of University of Manitoba legend Brian Dobie before moving on to the Bombers as a receivers coach in 2003. And so his roots in the Peg really run deep. So much so that Dice spends his off seasons here in the snow and cold. That's a true Winnipegger, Rod.
Like you, John Lou. Thank you. Yeah, Bob Dice loving his hometown, and Grady Oliveira picking up a good gain on 1st down. He grinds it up. It was 2nd and short coming up here for the Bombers.
Yeah, interesting to hear, that story with Bob and, Coach Dice talking about how he was reluctant to get into coaching, and, then once he got in it and did it at the amateur level first and then worked his way through, and you just start to get excited about it. I mean, your leading men go out and try to create the culture that we talk about all the time, and the X's and O's of it, and pretty soon that bug gets you in a hurry.
2nd and 3 now after that 7-yard pickup by Oliveira. Back in his hands again. Needs the 3, and a little tougher to run on the Red Blacks that time. We're looking at a 3rd and short, I believe. Wait for the spot of the football. He had to get it up to the 50. And it looks like he'll be a little bit shy, maybe a foot for Mike O'Shea.
Yeah, this is a no-brainer, though, to go get it. Play 3 downs with Strevler.
And by the way, one other note about Bob Dice, has a record of 3-1 against the Blue Bombers as a head coach. Got a couple of wins with Ottawa, but also 1-1 with Saskatchewan when he took over on an interim basis back in 2015. The first game was a Labor Day game, and then the loss here in the Bantam Bowl. There's Strevler doing what Strevler does in a very short 3rd down play. Gets enough for the 1st down.
Now Strevler is the short yardage guy as well as the starter tonight, and he's going to take some more hits because of it. And I only bring that up because he, you know, on the bench, every time he's come off the field, the training staff has gone to talk to him. I also saw in the break Terry Wilson just keeping loose and warming up down there. He's got his helmet on. I'm not suggesting they're making a change right now. Strevler looks fine, but he's going to take more hits on those short yardage plays.
Terry Wilson spent last season in the USFL. Number 3 in the depth. Strevler takes it. He is running again. No question about that. Right from the get-go, and a good pickup again. Chris Strevler got a great ovation back in week 1 when he came on for a play, and he just had this to say about how happy he is to be back in Winnipeg.
Very full circle moment. You know, it's something that I thought about when I signed here. You know, how exciting is it going to be to get to take the field in front of those fans that have showed me so much love throughout my football journey, both here and away from here. So very full circle, very exciting, but at the end of the day, you know, okay, that I appreciate all that, but now it's time to focus and execute. So you know, these fans, I can't say enough about, you know, how loyal they've been, how much love they've shown me, this team over the years, and I'm very, very thankful to be in the city playing for this team.
And running again in short yardage, and he just looks like he has it when he had to go backwards, push his way through. That was on a 2nd down and about a foot away. Coming into that play, Strevler with 70 yards passing, 40 yards rushing, but yeah, he looks still a little bit hobbled there, Glenn.
Yeah, and he was trying to go deep here. He wanted to go on 2nd and short, because if it doesn't work, he can go ahead and run, and even if they're short a little bit, they'll go for it again on 3rd down, but he ended up getting that 1st down and a new set.
Been run a lot, Chris Strevler is in his first start since October of 2019. Started several games, 8 games he started actually before the arrival of Collaros back in 2019 with the injury to Matt Nichols, and started several games in 2018 as well. Brady Oliveira, he's carrying the load now. Oliveira, as you talked about, is used to being the guy carrying that running load, and there's a big one there to set up another 2nd and short.
Well, what happens is the defensive line start to widen a little bit. When Strevler goes around the edge the couple times that he's done tonight, you start to widen the gaps a little bit inside, and that's where Brady Oliveira can take advantage of that.
You run the football, you possess the ball a lot. Winnipeg over 19 minutes so far, Ottawa just 7. So we're approaching a 3-to-1 ratio. Winnipeg with a 3-point lead, controlling the ball. Back to Strevler, 1st down and more. It was right side that time. Javon Santos knocks in there, but this is another impressive drive by Winnipeg, and taking lots of time off that clock as we're getting down to about 4 minutes until halftime.
Well, there is one progression, is that goes to play action, but Strevler, you know, if it's working, why try to fix something? It's not broken. This drive has all been about the run, either Oliveira up the middle or Strevler on the edge.
Almost looks out of breath with all the running he's been doing. He has been busy. The Ottawa 37 now. Chris Strevler. Back to Oliveira. Breaks through. Big hole. Big run. Still going. Oliveira. Well down into scoring range for Winnipeg in the biggest run of the night for last year's leading rusher, Brady Oliveira.
You get in that bind because one here or one there. Which one are you going to take? If you're coming off the edge as an edge player defensively here, do you go down inside to Oliveira or do you take the wide outside run lane from Chris Streveler? That time, I believe it was Tobias Harris takes the outside lane. He takes Streveler, and that opened up that C gap for Brady Oliveira.
Bombers running their way downfield now as they are approaching the 10. 1st and 10. Breaking through again inside the 5 and down close to another first down. What a drive on the ground for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. All the way down to 2.5 minutes to go. They've issued the 3-minute warning. A whole lot of this trying to wear down that Ottawa defense.
Halftime is quickly approaching. We're still awaiting our first touchdown of this ball game. Blue Bombers are right on the doorstep. I know Jim's really excited to talk about all those field goals we've seen in that first half. Paula Police will be here as well to look ahead to tomorrow's game between the Owls and the Stamps. It's now back to Rod and Glenn.
Did Kate do something with her hair?
Oh, come on now.
Just kidding. Kidding.
We're just kidding. We welcome you, LD.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have fun and keep
Nice
them
job.
under control. It's a big challenge, I realize. You got it. Halftime coming up. Laura Dyken in the panel. Talk about this. Could we be seeing a touchdown finally? Chris Streveler. They're in close. Ottawa 2. 2nd and 1. Pushing. Well, could be at least a first down. Could be a 1st and goal coming up here. See where they spot that football. Everything has been, just about everything on the ground here. In this possession, both Streveler and Oliveira mainly.
Well, that's been the whole drive.
That's been everything.
Yep.
So a 1st and goal it is.
First down, 3 cracks at the 1-yard line. They're likely not going to change anything. This drive has been the run drive. And the surprising part for me is Ottawa really hasn't made an adjustment to it defensively. Playing 4 down linemen. They're playing their linebackers off.
You made the point earlier that you'd be thinking that'd be their game plan. Knowing that on this night would be Winnipeg's strength offensively, running the ball. Has it ever been? So 1st and goal at the Ottawa 1. The Bombers find the end zone. Streveler! Touchdown! His 5th rushing touchdown. And Oliveira slams the ball down. He was a big part of that drive as well.
Yeah,
First start in nearly 5 years.
Really is fitting that Chris Streveler on the touchdown gives the ball to Spike to Brady Oliveira because it was the 1-2 punch. Oliveira on this drive in the middle between the tackles and Chris Streveler on the edges. This time he just follows the right side of that offensive line and fights his way. He didn't have it initially. Santos Knox over the top stopped him initially, but that second effort got him in.
11 plays, all rushing, all Streveler and Oliveira, 70 yards, and that took nearly 7 minutes off the clock. The point after by Sergio Castillo. What a quick quarter this has been. 2:09 left until halftime, and Winnipeg takes control by running the football.
Yeah, this is just Brady Oliveira pounding it in the middle. Streveler taking it outside to widen the defensive line a little bit more, and then almost get the sense that if he is in a passing formation or in that pocket, he's just looking for one receiver. If he doesn't like it, he's taken off, and that was all the dual threat run game. And not really a lot of adjustments for Ottawa defensively. They went with just their 4 down linemen, played their linebackers off, didn't really run blitz at all to try and fill the gaps, and were just sort of reacting. But that O-line is great in Rhodes now.
And we wondered how Streveler would do as a passer tonight. He is 7 for 11 for 70 yards. But yeah, to your point, that running drive alone, 70 yards.
11 plays, all rushes.
All rushes for the touchdown. So now Ottawa in a 10-point hole. And on the kick return, getting it up across the 30. So it seems like an eternity since Drew Brown has been back on the field. Mentioned before, it's about a 3-to-1 ratio in terms of time of possession for Winnipeg.
Well, that and the fact that that long drive of almost 7 minutes was a run drive, that can really wear down that defensive line, taking on those run blocks every single play. 11 in a row.
Last time they had the ball, they had a 2-and-out as well. So, yeah, that Red Black defense could be getting a bit tired right now. The Ottawa 34, late first half. Handing off. Rock Armstead, right side, tucks it back, has a good carry up to post to the 42. It'll be a 2nd and short coming up for the Red Blacks.
So Ottawa watched Brady Oliveira all the way down the field, and a little bit of Chris Streveler in there too, and said, hey, we got a guy.
Well, you had made the point at quarter time that you're surprised that we didn't see Armstead running the football more. He has 3 carries for 12 yards now. That last one being his longest to 7 yards, and 2nd and 3. Right back to 25. First down and more. Yeah, turnabout's fair play. Ottawa decides, let's run the ball to get it up across their 50 now. Still lots of time before the half. 1:40.
Different style here than Brady Oliveira with Rock Armstead. Little fake and then great acceleration. I mean, he just shoots the gap there.
From the Ottawa 52. A little trickery here as it's slowly handed off.
I wonder if they thought they heard a whistle.
Brown almost walked it back and just gave it to Armstead, who then decided to take off. What a bizarre look this was.
Yeah, watch this again. It looks like they thought a whistle blew, and they went, oh, play's over. Okay, hang on. Oh, I guess it isn't.
If they wanted to fool the Bombers,
in all my time,
everyone there.
Yeah, in all my time, I've never seen a play designed to look like that. There's a delayed draw, yes, not that delayed.
If that was designed, that was well acted. 2nd and 8, 54. Brown under heat. He takes off and he gets hit. Reddick Cramney comes down. Flags coming out. Helmet coming off Brown, and it's getting heated too between these two teams as Brown was clearly sliding when Cramney went in and Brown's helmet came off, and he's still down. And Dice is out trying to settle his players down.
Well, the flags flew, so the most important aspect right now is the health of Drew Brown as they're looking. The training staff has come out just to check him out. He hook slides here, and it was, I think, more than just the timing of the hit was the fact that Cramney got the head, and it looked like the forearm was in there too. This angle may show it better. Yeah, forearm to the head, and then followed through to keep driving the head into the turf. So that's definitely going to be, that was what the penalty flags were for, especially a hook slide feet first. And Bob Dice was trying to keep his guys out of it from getting that second penalty retaliation, but there's no question Drew Brown will have to come out.
They continue to examine him down on the field. There's the backup quarterback, Dustin Crum, who, as you may recall, was called into a lot of duty last year. 4th in the depth to start the season, and then he ultimately started more games than any other Red Black quarterback. His first came up against Winnipeg, which they called it the Crumback game in Ottawa. When they were down by 16 points with 2.5 minutes to go, they forced overtime, and he won it with a running touchdown. But the concern for Drew Brown right now, on both sides, I'm sure, I mean, that's an ex-teammate of Reddick Cramney's, who just came in and got him while he was clearly giving himself up with a slide.
Major foul, roughing the pass for Winnipeg number 6. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
As he gets helped up and does seem woozy with that hit to the head. And Dustin Crum gets ready to go late here in the first half.
Well, good to see him walking off the way he is, and Willie Jefferson over there just to say, hey. But there's no doubt here. I saw Reddick Cramney go over and talk to Mike O'Shea about the hit.
That penalty pushes Ottawa in scoring range now. At the very least, 1st and 10, Winnipeg 34. Crum, his first play, and he keeps it after the fake. He gets it inside the 30.
Well, just like what's been facing the Ottawa defense with Chris Streveler, now with Crum in the game, he is going to take off and run a ton. We saw that last year in a big way. And he is tough to catch. I mean, he's got a long stride, but he has the speed with that long stride. It's quite a combination. Don't realize how fast he's going until you're out there standing beside him and he goes right by you.
Well, you're right. For all the talk we had about Streveler changing the way a defense has to approach the running game, it's the same with Crum in there now as he gives it to Armstead. Pulls his way down closer to the 20, and it's a first down for the Red Blacks. Still just under a minute, 58 seconds to go, and that's Jordan Younger, who took over from Richie Hall as the defensive coordinator for Winnipeg. Down to the Bomber 22, and a test now for Adam Bighill and the Bomber defense. Ottawa trying to respond before halftime. Down by 10. Dustin Crum is in. To throw. End zone look. Too far. Intended there for Jalen Acklin as Crum got hit after he let go of the football.
Yeah, I think Crum was rushed just a little bit. That's why the accuracy was off. But Jalen Acklin also was, I don't know if he was hand fighting the DB or just had his head up the field. He kind of turned his head around to find the football a little bit late. He slowly progressed as the season has gone on. More targets.
Dustin Crum was called into action in week 5 a year ago when Jeremiah Masoli got hurt in Hamilton. He nearly led the Red Blacks back to a victory over the Tiger Cats that night and started against Winnipeg the next week. And here he is, called in now on a 2nd and 10. Whoa. And it's bobbled.
That might be live.
Could be a live ball. The Bombers think so. They pick it up. Evan Holm looked like a lateral pass out there for Rock Armstead. And more pushing and shoving between the Bombers and Red Blacks after the fact.
Let's take a look if that was behind. It's behind the line of scrimmage for sure, but was it a lateral? Oh, I don't know if it was. No, I think that's
just
an
slightly forward. Just slightly.
The previous play is under review by the command center.
They will give it a look.
The ruling on the field is a fumble. It's a lateral followed by fumble. So under review.
So they have ruled that it was a fumble. So
they need to see enough evidence then to overturn that if they're going to. And Armstead mad at himself on that play, but they're going to take another look at that and make sure that it was forward. Look forward in that first replay, but it wasn't by much. Sometimes it's the angle of the camera as well that can throw that off a little bit. We're right down the line though, so this is pretty accurate. I mean, that looks slightly forward to me.
So close, but I agree, just the slightest bit forward.
Now, I mean, he ended up throwing it backwards. Armstead,
but initially incomplete though.
Yeah,
right?
no, but yeah, because he didn't have control.
Right.
So I think they may overturn this and make it incomplete. That looked like it was just slightly forward.
Al Bradbury is in the command center tonight, replay official. As Ottawa is certainly in position to at least get a field goal to make it a one-score game before halftime, unless of course they have turned it over.
Well, you heard the official say that it was a lateral fumble. Goes Drew Brown. He has halftime to be examined and make sure he's okay to return if he can. But you heard him say lateral fumble, so that's what they're looking at, whether or not it was a forward pass or not, because he didn't have control. So it wasn't a controlled catch either way, and then a fumble. It's either a lateral or a forward pass incomplete.
Just that last replay, just trying to judge when the ball was touched, was it slightly ahead of where it was released by Crum? They continue to look it over. So bottom line, is it a fumble? Is it an incomplete pass? It was ruled a fumble.
Is it a lateral?
After automatic review by the command center, the ruling on the field stands. There's a lateral, followed by fumble. Winnipeg first down.
So it does stand. There have Bombers now with 32 seconds to go take over on that Ottawa turnover. Ruled a lateral and a fumble. Strebler back in, and Strebler taking off again. He has run a lot. Gets it up to the 41. Let's take another look at the turnover.
Again, maybe it was the angle, but it looked to me, they said it was a throw from the 28. Stop it there. So there's the 28. And does that not look like the ball hits his hands beyond the 28?
From that angle, slightly, yes.
Okay, I'm going to stick with my disagreement.
Well, it's so close. And bear in mind, too, they had decided on the field that was a lateral and a fumble.
That's true.
Then the onus is on the replay. You have to have enough conclusive evidence to overturn it. And they decided it is. So Nick Dembski on that catch. And it's still a 10-point Bomber lead with 20 seconds to go until halftime. Mike O'Shea and Winnipeg looking for their first victory of the season for an 0-4 start that included a close loss in Ottawa 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, took some time to think about what he wanted to do here on third down.
The always dangerous Devontae Dedmon is back. Jamison Sheehan will punt it away. 20 seconds on the clock.
That's probably why he took so much time to figure out if he wanted to punt this ball. Because of Dedmon back there.
Dedmon would be to the left, the top of the screen. He's the one that's getting the ball. No room and good coverage. Dedmon goes nowhere. Taken down around the 33. Bombers special teams all fired up. 10 seconds on the clock for Dustin Crum and Laura Dyken. Her CFL panel debut, sitting in for Kate tonight along with Ches and Maddie and Jim Barker as well. Some thoughts on this half and some good with the running of Winnipeg. Concern obviously for the health of Ottawa quarterback Drew Brown, who has left this game after taking that hit late in the half from Retta Cramdy. Seconds. Ottawa 35. Deeper throw, and it's caught too around midfield. 3 seconds. That's Hardy with the catch.
Well, Crum can try and buy some time, get outside the pocket, move around a little bit, wait till his receivers gather down around the 10-yard line and sling it. See if he either gets a pass interference call or maybe the miraculous catch. The Bomber secondary will drop way back.
You got 4 deep for Winnipeg's defense. It's the only play they have at this point with 2 seconds. Last play. Crum dumps it short. Armstead will pick up some yardage. He's still going. And Brandon Alexander bumps him and finally takes him down inside the 25. So that is halftime. A half that had been close 15 minutes in, but it's a big drive all on the ground. Chris Strebler, Brady Oliveira and that Bomber offense running their way downfield to take a 2-score lead at 13-3, and the big concern, of course, for the Ottawa REDBLACKS at quarterback.
Well, and the second one, once they figure out the health of Drew Brown and whether he can return, is how do they stop the run game between Strebler and Brady Oliveira on defense?
Yeah, that running game, talked about those numbers. Oliveira, 75 yards rushing in this first half alone, and Strebler. And along with John Rodsmith and Glenn Suter back at this game, the Bombers take a 10-point lead into the second half with Dustin Crum now got the offense in his hands to start this for Ottawa.
Yeah, so it's different approach. I mean, a different attack strategy for the Ottawa offense, and I agree with the panel. Crum can still throw it now.
Ottawa gets the ball to start the second half. Crum will be the quarterback, but first the return here by Dedmon. And a good return, too, to get it up around the 43 as he is tackled by Tanner Cadwallader. Another look at the injury late in the first half to Drew Brown.
Good discussion by the panel at halftime just about their thoughts on, whether was this a dirty hit or not. And I agree with Jim Barker saying that he thought it was. I think it was too, and it was the follow through with the elbow and basically the flipper of the forearm that made it a dirty hit. He could have avoided that part of it when the timing was pretty close on the actual tackle.
Second half begins in the hands of Rock Armstead. Ruled a fumble late in the first half on a pass to him that was called a lateral. He gets that one up to the 50, a second down and about 4 ahead.
So Dustin Crum was, creating some pretty positive headlines in Ottawa when he got his chance to play last year. We admired how he ran the ball, kind of like we're watching Strebler here tonight. But think back to that big comeback against the Bombers last season. And a different Bomber team than they are this year.
Definitely. You won't forget that. Second down and back on the ground. Looks like they're more determined to take a page out of Winnipeg's book in that first half and run the football as Crum handed off again. And they will be close. Needed 4. A short third down coming up here.
Well, you saw the follow through, and even though Drew Brown can run, I mean, we saw him run in that first half, but you saw the fake continued through with Dustin Crum there, because that becomes more of a threat now.
Short yardage, Crum. Big Hill has him wrapped, but it looks like he just has enough to get that first down close to midfield for the Ottawa REDBLACKS.
So in this second half, be looking at things like what is going to be the adjustments that the Ottawa defense make to try and contain Strebler and Oliveira running the ball. And offensively, how does this offense look different for Ottawa coming from behind with Dustin Crum at the controls?
Yeah, that's right. And that's the big story looming for Ottawa. But when you talk about the running game as you have, for the REDBLACKS defense, once Winnipeg gets the ball, what will they do differently? That two-headed monster, Strebler and Oliveira, just tore them apart that last drive. And now turning things around the other way, another good run on first down by Armstead. So he gets it in the Bomber zone and inside their 50.
Out of Temple, a rookie, and Rock Armstead. I've liked, and this is my first Ottawa game of the season, but I've loved his acceleration in the hole.
They work quickly back to him, back to the ground, and it looks like another first down. We got a running football game going on here in Winnipeg between these two teams right now. Armstead with his 11th carry now. He's up over 40 yards.
Well, and they basically kept. They haven't really tracked Dustin Crum on those fakes. I mean, you can see the ball, then you react to the ball, but no one is getting that secondary contained on Dustin Crum right now. They're converging on Armstead.
From the Winnipeg 49, little play fake. Willie Jefferson's coming. Ball gets stripped. Jefferson has it. Always a threat. The great Willie Jefferson. A quieter start to the season. That's his biggest play at 2024. As Ottawa was moving as he forces the turnover. A 6'7" nightmare for opposing quarterbacks. Willie gets in, gets home, gets the ball. Winnipeg has it.
Matchup here between Zach Pelios and Willie Jefferson right off the edge. And right now, Pelios basically has him where he wants him. He has him wide. He has him outside past the quarterback. But that great reach right there of Willie Jefferson, you can't defend against that. Pelios blocked him pretty well. He kept him wide. He kept him past Crum. And then he just reached back 3 yards and knocked it out of his hand.
When you have that kind of wingspan, bad things happen to the other team. Forced turnover. Back to Brady Oliveira. Takes the short pass. Puts his head down. So those are receiving yards. He had 75 rushing yards in the first half. And that already is a game high for him this season.
Well, it's an extension of the run game. It's the same two guys handling the football, but this is just a different way to get him maybe a little more space around him. Buck Pierce tweaking the two of them. And that time of possession is going to grab the Ottawa defense in the backside in the fourth quarter.
They keep grinding it down. This is a second and short. Strebler, instead of pushing forward, he goes around the edge, and he easily gets another first down for Winnipeg.
Well, I would say in the 24 campaign, this is the breakout game for Brady Oliveira, without question. Coming into this one, just a 4.3-yard average, which is not Brady Oliveira type numbers. Talked earlier about his no training camp and been nicked for the first few weeks, and he's back and running hard.
And they have it to the Ottawa 40. So easily, at the very least, in the Castillo range again. Thinking more than that right now, and a first down. Third quarter. 10-point lead, 13-3. On the ground, surprise, surprise. In the hands of Oliveira as he works it down to about the 36 of Ottawa.
And the guys on the panel at halftime talked about the Bombers trying to find their identity, trying to get back to who they are. And, you know, I said to start the season when we had that first Bomber game that I believe even when Zach Collaros was their starting quarterback, MOP Zach Collaros throwing the ball to all those weapons, Dalton Schoen and Kenny Lawler and all those guys, that it started and the heartbeat of it was Brady Oliveira.
And how's this for offensive balance? There have been 13 passing plays by Winnipeg, 22 rushing plays. There's the 14th passing play.
He threw it.
Kevin Clarcias, the rookie, with his second catch of the night. Good enough for another Bomber first down.
He's going to pop over the middle, and the linebackers getting up into the line of scrimmage because the Ottawa REDBLACKS are going to have to do something to stop the run. That could mean playing a little bit more man-to-man in the back end and just having the front seven just deal with number 20 or 17 running.
Second catch for the rookie Clarcias for a total of 28 yards from the Ottawa 26 back to the ground. Here comes Oliveira. Gets spun around and pushes back inside the Ottawa 20.
See, this is exactly what we're talking about. There's Santos Knox. You bring these guys, the linebackers up, and now you're filling gaps and stopping the run. But what does that do? It opens up right in behind there for play action. So that's got to be the next thing for Buck Pierce. But they're going to have to show that they can actually stop it. So Bear Miles' group is going to have to show that they can fill those gaps and stop that run.
He's well over 6 yards of carry now to 85 yards. And here's Strevler's turn. Takes off. He is sliding and he is hit. Tobias Harris coming in. The Bombers want a flag. And fans booing that. Eric Lofton getting in and do it with Santos Knox. It was Harris coming in as Strevler was sliding. We're basically saying the other one was a penalty. How about this one?
Boy, the fans are irate that didn't get a call.
Previous plays under review.
And I would say the part where the helmets collide would be enough. Again, the timing is very similar to the last one on Drew Brown, but the head contact right to the ear hole. And I think he even brought in his left hand to the head as well. So,
well, there was no question on the other one, and I don't see how there could be a question about.
Well, the other one, the timing was similar. The difference was the forearm and the driving the head into the ground. But we saw the head-to-head contact.
So they're taking another look at it. A discussion now with Mike O'Shea, and this is what they've decided in the hit on Strevler.
Major foul, grade 2 spirit. Ottawa under the 41. It's half the distance to goal and a first down.
So a focus on the helmet, going to the helmet.
Exactly. And that was the difference. And that was the penalty aspect of this hit, which was timing-wise similar to the other one on Drew Brown, but very different as far as the foul.
You did see Harris's left hand get up first to make contact.
But it was the head. It was
the head, too.
That's the dangerous part of what happened there.
And that's Harris having a word with big Eric Lofton defending his quarterback. The injury spotter has looked at Chris Strevler, and they've decided that he is okay, so he does stay in. I mentioned earlier, Drew Brown's night is done. Strevler in first and goal at the Ottawa 7. Oliveira. And he meets a wall right at the 5. Could not go any further than that.
Lorenzo Malden shot through and went right to him. right to the legs of Brady Oliveira. He actually paused so that he could redirect to Strevler if he kept it, but then he just dove in there and got to the legs of number 20. Watch, you'll see 94 just bam right there.
94 there, and 96 Wakefield, the one that got him up high and pushed him back. A second and goal at the Ottawa 5. Winnipeg up by 10, looking for more. Third quarter. Strevler, short throw, Oliveira, and great work in the open field by DeAndre Lamont. Comes in and prevents anything further there from Oliveira when he was thinking end zone.
You know, I thought the timing on the little swing pass was good by Chris Strevler, so it gave Oliveira a chance, but that close by Lamont so quick and takes his legs out again, and once you cut those legs out, that's it. Hold for a field goal, which is important.
So the Red Blacks defense, beleaguered as it's been in this game, especially to the run, does hold firm there deep in their zone and force a field goal try from Sergio Castillo, who has been perfect on the night. 3 for 3. 3 more on the board, Winnipeg. Bombers take charge. It could have been worse for Ottawa. DeAndre Lamont says no further to Brady Oliveira. Bombers up 13. Bombers trying to avoid a third straight loss at home, which has not happened since 2016, and trying to avoid their first 0-5 start since 1998. And things are looking pretty good for Winnipeg right now. Third quarter, and they're up 16-3. Play action fake. Dustin Crum stands in, and he throws it, and it's caught at midfield. It's Justin Hardy, who was wrestled down there by the safety Brandon Alexander, and Hardy is slow to get up on that tackle.
Well, that's a good sign that he did get up. He took a second, and the way he got tackled, I believe it was Brandon Alexander bringing him down, and the way he got tackled coming out of the backfield, and that deep out, watch how he got twisted around there, and then knee buckled underneath. Man, that didn't look good, but he's okay.
He stays on, goes in motion, hand off to Armstead, finds some room, spins, keeps going. Another solid run by Raquel Armstead to get it inside the Bomber 45, and another Ottawa first down.
Well, you know that Justin Hardy was banged up, and you know that knee didn't look good the way it twisted. He gutted it out. He gets a kick out block here on Willie Jefferson to help out, make sure Jefferson can't get involved in that run play.
Armstead now with 12 carries, 55 yards, and the longest of 10 in that first down run. Trump has time off to the right. It's complete. Braylon Addison, and daylight ahead, but another good open field tackle there, this time by Winnipeg to limit the damage, but still, it's Tyrell Ford to the tackle, but another Ottawa first down.
That was a good tackle. I mean, this is a big play for Ottawa because they'll get a new set of downs, and a successful one, but that could have been a lot worse for the Bombers. There was one tackler trying to get an angle back there with the blocker in front of him. If Tyrell Ford doesn't make this tackle, Armstead still running.
Ottawa moving quickly in the Bomber zone down inside their 30. They trail by 13 points. 4.5 minutes to go until three-quarter time. The quick throw, it is caught. Another good gain on first down. Right back to Hardy. He was a couple of yards shy, and yeah, staying in, though he is looking.
It. Yeah, he's feeling it. He's getting up a little bit slow, but toughing it out.
Ottawa's leading receiver coming in. Leading receiver in the night now, too, with 43 yards on the ground. And Armstead only needed a couple. Looks like this drive will continue inside the Winnipeg 20. Pride of East Carolina Pirates. Most receptions NCAA history, and he's just behind Zay Jones. At one point he had it at 387.
That was the leader. You know, that's some big numbers. I mean, 4th-round draft pick for Atlanta back in 2015, the National Football League, and Ottawa lucky to have him healthy right now after that hit.
First and 10. Winnipeg 18. Crum, it is deflected. Tyree Wilson, the weak side linebacker, got his hand on it. And a big play for the Bomber defense.
Just look at the left of your screen here. You're going to see number 19 just slide underneath this slant route and time it up nicely, get his fingers on it.
There's Drew Brown, Ottawa quarterback, injured in the first half. His day is done. Took that hit from Retta Cramdy. Second and 10. Crum takes off. He can run. He does. First down and more. Takes a hit. Still on his feet. Like a big scrum there to stop him as he never actually went down. They blow it dead right around the 5. So another quarterback who's renowned for running takes off and gets a first down.
So now the Bombers defensive line's got to be disciplined in their lanes. You see one falls. Not sure which number that was, but that was that inside C-gap lane between the guard and the or just outside the tackle. As it developed, and Crum took advantage of that. One defensive lineman falls down. There's an open lane to run, and he'll take it.
Crum was a nightmare for the Bombers defense in Crum's first CFL start ever in Week 6 a year ago, including a touchdown run in overtime. It's first and goal now at the Winnipeg 4. Handing off. Armstead spins. Touchdown. Ottawa REDBLACKS getting back in this game with a huge third quarter drive.
Whole bunch of the rock in there too in that drive. Taking a page out of the Bomber book with Brady Oliveira and getting Armstead going on the run game with the threat of Dustin Crum getting outside, and again defense gets in a bind. Not many throws in that drive.
And that is the first CFL touchdown for Raquel Rock Armstead. He gets the hammer. 8 plays, 70 yards on that drive for Ottawa. Did they ever need that? Lewis Ward, the point after try, the first touchdown of this night for the REDBLACKS. Up and through. Was 13, is now 6. Armstead finds the end zone.
Big drive for Ottawa to get it back to a one-possession game. Starts with this throw to Justin Hardy. That's where he became Gumby. Somehow wasn't injured by that tackle from the safety Brandon Alexander. And then this throw, just a couple of throws in the drive that was 8 plays, 70 yards, and 4.5 minutes. That one to Braylon Addison. And then Crum taking off on a run up the middle. Finished by Armstead. We got a one-possession game.
First CFL touchdown for Rock Armstead, and it gets the REDBLACKS to within 6 on the ensuing kickoff. Now it's Chris Smith. And Lucas Cormier in his second year coming in for that special teams tackle. Strebler coming back on. Winnipeg. Close game at a Friday night in the Fed.
Western tip of the continent, and this friendship started back in their Golden Gopher days, 2013, and they're together as Bombers teammates for a second time round in a friendship that Wolotarski says it is so close that he knows Strebler better than he does his own brothers. And now that both men are pressed into bigger roles because of the Bombers' rash of injuries, they're drinking in this opportunity to the fullest, Rod.
Making the most of it too, John. We have seen Strebler throwing deeper, coming back to get it in. Dembski. Beautiful combination of Strebler to Dembski there to get it in the Ottawa zone down inside the 50.
Rod, I know you don't need one, but I would travel 16,000 miles to get to your wedding.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, oh yeah, you got it, man. I'll be there for you. It's a nice throw by Strebler, getting it out and actually pulling Nick Dembski back away from coverage.
Especially if it's in a nice part of Western Australia.
Yeah,
as he showed it.
Yeah, that was just subtly added that they were in Australia, where the sunsets are pretty cool.
The handoff. Back to the ground. Johnny Augustine is in, as we were told that Brady Oliveira has gone to the room now. He's having himself a big night. Augustine got the start against Ottawa 3 weeks ago when Oliveira was out with a knee injury.
Very similar average to Oliveira. coming in. That's you look in different amount of carries, different number of carries, different opportunities. But the one thing that can remain sort of as a test is that average, just below 5 for Johnny Augustine.
In his 6th year at Guelph, scored a couple of touchdowns, including one against Ottawa earlier this season. Stays in to protect. Scrambling deep right. Oh, nearly intercepted. Damon Webb, who saved the day against Winnipeg for Ottawa, late in that one in the final minute, comes up with a big play, and it looked like he could have had himself a pick there.
Strebler thought he had Wilson down the sideline because it looks like it's just straight man from press position, and Wilson was in behind coverage there on Lamont, but over the top he didn't see the deep help from Damon Webb. Everything to catch it.
Another long try for Sergio Castillo, who's been good at them. Had a 60 last week, a 53 earlier, and this one is through again. How about the leg of Castillo? Had that rough start in week 1. Unhappy about the chip balls. They got all that straightened out, and he has been money for Winnipeg.
It's a big one. I mean, this pushes it to two possessions again. And you know, right now Michael O'Shea can confidently think that if his offense gets to midfield, they've got a chance for 3 at the very least.
Another 53-yarder, so 2 53-yard field goals tonight. And that's, as mentioned, the 60-yarder last week in Calgary is tied for the 2nd longest ever by Paul McCallum at 63. So Castillo has really helped the Bombers out on this night, 19-10. Yeah, last play of the 3rd quarter, back to a 2-possession game. Winnipeg in front. Ottawa, the last time they had the ball, they drove down for a touchdown, and that's Rock Armstead with the carry there. So a 2nd down coming up. Red Blacks, both teams with their backup quarterbacks tonight. Winnipeg trying to hang on for win number 1 in 24. Ago in Ottawa after 3, but couldn't hang on, and that's the big challenge of an 0-4 team now.
Yeah, we've been saying for 4 weeks that the biggest surprise in the league this year has been the 0-4 Winnipeg Blue Bombers after going to the Grey Cup and Grey Cup appearances in 4 straight years. That's been the biggest question, and now can they hold on to this lead, because they've been close in all of those losses. You know, field goal here, 1 possession there. They've got a running quarterback they got to deal with in Dustin Crum. He already has the confidence that he can come back against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, did it last year. And can the Bombers finish and get that first W of the year?
And Drew Brown can only watch. His current team tries to come back against his old team. Brown taking that hit late in the first half, and his day is done. It's up to Dustin Crum now at quarterback in a 2nd and 4 to start the 4th quarter. He has the time. He looks deep. It's intercepted. Terrell Bonds in coverage, and Dominic Rhymes, and has a bit of a return going here. Up to the 40. And then out of bounds. Closer to the 50. For Terrell Bonds. Coming up with that pick, his first CFL interception.
Trips into the boundary, and Rhymes is going to end up being that outside wide receiver, but he kind of hops over Bonds. Bonds gets in his lane, which is not interference. He can run to the ball too, but he gets in his lane and he forces Dominic Rhymes to bounce outside. Now he's got inside leverage. Now he can run the football down.
One of the big changes for Winnipeg in their secondary, 2 new corners with Bonds, Demario Houston gone to Calgary. And you got Tyrell Ford on the other side, on the field side, but another big defensive play. Winnipeg taking over, up by 9 at their 48. Johnny Augustine still in it, running back for the Bombers, and Strebler just throws it away after rolling out to the right. 2nd down coming up.
Well, it's sometimes just your positioning as a defensive back. I want to show you again. Here he is right back here. That's Dominic Rhymes. He's going to end up being the wide receiver in this trips formation. Now watch how he jumps inside right there at the edge of your screen, and that forces Rhymes to the outside shoulder, and now Bonds has the inside leverage, and that's how he can run down the ball before Rhymes can get there.
And a nice little return, too. And the ball finds a place on the bench right beside him. There's a keeper. The first-year CFL corner, Terrell Bonds, in the interception. Second down. Close to the first down marker for Dick Dembski, but it falls incomplete. And Damon Webb in coverage, and just what the Red Blacks need, they forced the 2 and out after they had given the ball away. Steering from John Liu now, according to the Bombers, questionable whether or not Brady Oliveira will return to this game.
One of the reasons we're seeing Strebler put the ball in the air a little bit more.
And Mike O'Shea's patience has been tested with injuries so far this season more than any other year. This is year 10 as head coach in Winnipeg, and you look at the players that he has had to live without right now, not to mention the ones that left in the offseason with free agency. Off the punt. A big hit. Coming in, Michael Ayers on DeMonte Dedmon. Stopped him in his tracks. That fan's reaction speaks for many. Oh my goodness, Dedmon. Ayers. Down he goes in a hurry. A welcome sight for the Bombers. They couldn't guarantee he'd be back, but shortly after that he did come on. He hopped on the bike and he looks to be fine. He looks like a guy who wants to get in and play again. Having a good night too with 87 yards rushing. But it's Ottawa ball. Dustin Crum. Possession after he threw the pick. And this time Willie Jefferson was the first to get his hands on him, and then it is Devin Adams finishing up. Completing the sack for Winnipeg.
Part of the 0-4 for the Bombers start was that Willie Jefferson had a slow start. And over the last couple of games, last week against Calgary, he had a couple of key knockdowns. We've seen him cause a fumble here. He cuts inside the tackle there to get to be the first to Crum. Gets his teammates to help. He's starting to be that wrecking crew that we remember.
Yep, a little earlier in the game.
All by himself, wrecking crew.
Yeah, he came in and just with that reach alone stripped the ball, and they recovered that one. 2nd and 16 on the sack of Crum. Ottawa's down by 9. More heat coming. Gets some time. Wants to take off. Looking for room. And Jefferson can't get him. But coming in, Ford does. They blow the whistle. Crum was hoping that he wouldn't be ruled down and tried to run some more. But it was on the play by Ford after Jefferson didn't quite get to him that took him down shy of a first down.
You know, again, you go back as far as the first quarter when Drew Brown was in at quarterback. I think both these Ottawa quarterbacks are having trouble finding open receivers. I mean, he's down because he was on top of Terrell Ford, who made contact. You're right. Jefferson flushed him first.
Richie Leone. From inside the 10. Chris Smith. The 50. So Chris Strebler will be coming on again.
And there's Brady Oliveira.
And there's Oliveira. Looking to add to his totals. His best night of the season. He's got 14 carries for 87 yards. And boy, he and Strebler for a time had been magic on the ground for Winnipeg's offense. Including one touchdown drive that was all them. It was all running. 11 plays. Big test for Ottawa's defense. It certainly has to find a way to be better against the Blue Bomber running game. Here we go. 1st and 10 from the 50 to the ground they go. Oliveira. He's got some room and he's running hard, and Harris takes him down, but not before another first down on the ground for Winnipeg as Oliveira gets closer to 100.
Great cut to bounce outside once he got to the line of scrimmage. He presses the line, as he said many times, gets to the outside, and then it's a foot race, but a new set of downs. And yeah, he is fired up. He's looking for that first 100-yard game. You know he's looking for that first one.
And he is sitting right now on 99.
Get it started.
1 yard away from the CFL's leading rusher in 2023. Slow start. Wouldn't know it tonight, though. Well, he gets his yard. Not much more, mind you, but that should be enough to officially get him to the Indeed, about 2 yards actually, so call it 101 on the night for Brady Oliveira.
Bring in a couple of extra receivers. A couple big guys have come out. Fullback comes out in the second and long situation.
Stanley Bryant is limping, their all-star left tackle, perennial all-star, and for many years the top offensive lineman in the Canadian Football League, and he stays in, but clearly favoring something with the right leg. He's lined up against Lorenzo Malden. They get rid of it quickly, and it's caught. Clarcius, the rookie, is another one with Lamont on him. That's catch number 3 for Kevin Clarcius.
Think it'll be short though, and let's go back and look at Lorenzo Malden versus a limping Stanley Bryant off the edge. Malden goes one-on-one. Bryant just gets in his way. Big bodies, keeps him out to the outside and allows Streveler to throw it to the right receiver, but just short of the first down.
Well, these field goal tries just keep getting shorter now for Castillo. This one's only 49.
Oh, come on.
He's got a couple of 53s on the night. Had the 60 last week. Trying to stay perfect on the night. Put down by Sheehan. Castillo. He has been perfect. 49-1 that time. 3 more on the board. A 12-point lead. The Red Blacks are down to Winnipeg, but they've been down before. This was 1 year ago. They were down 16 points with under 3 minutes to play. A pick six got them closer, and then Crum hits Nate Bahar there. Did a lot of running, including one in overtime. Ultimately, that gave the Red Blacks the victory. 16 down, 2 touchdowns each with 2-point converts. The nut by Crum. They called it the Crum back in the nation's capital in his first ever CFL start. So down 12, but they know they could do it. Armstead. And he's being chased, but he breaks loose. He's still going. He's finally hauled down. Jamal Woods gets him, but a big pickup, the biggest of the night, for Armstead to get it inside the Winnipeg 40.
Well, the key block is from the quarterback, Dustin Crum. He hands this ball off, and this is tackled for a loss. Watch Crum get out here and get a key block on this running play. He gives it to Armstead here. Now here he comes. Watch, he seals the edge. Right there, that's a great block. Might have been a penalty at the end of that play, too, for horse collar.
Big block. Helping out a big run by Armstead from the Winnipeg 39. Screen off to Addison. Nowhere to go. Got him behind the line of scrimmage. Kyrie Wilson is there. And so, too, is a rookie, Owen Hubert, getting in on the act.
But that is the Willie Jefferson effect. Rather than wait for the rush to get up the field, Crum threw that early to allow, and the Winnipeg defense can rally to it. When you throw that little screen and don't wait for him to clear and get into space, it's going to have trouble having success. And you just, that's the Willie effect, throwing it a little fast.
And a loss of 7. Crowd picking up here at Princess Auto Stadium. 12-point lead. Crum can't find a receiver. Wants the takeoff. Finally does. Jefferson's there, and he'll go no further. 3rd and long coming up.
Try a long one going the opposite direction. Ward's longest on the season, 46 yards.
And that was to win it. That was the walk-off winner last Sunday against Hamilton. And this is a 51-yard try for Lewis Ward. Mentioned 4 for 4 last week. Chris Smith. And these long field goal tries. Watch the returners, unless, of course, Lewis Ward does what Lewis Ward does. It's perfect. Very accurate night for the kickers. And much-needed 3 on the board for Bob Dice's Red Blacks. America 2024, the quarterfinals will continue on TSN and TSN Plus tomorrow at 5:45 Eastern, 2:45 Pacific, with Colombia up against Panama and Uruguay up against Brazil. Back here in Winnipeg, and it's back to a 9-point game. The Bombers still in charge. The Red Blacks got a Lewis Ward field goal to get a little bit closer, but for Javon Santos-Knox, who started his CFL career here in Winnipeg, a couple of solid years with the Bombers before moving on, and 17 and 18, and trying to stop him now. That man, Oliveira, back in, got over 100 yards in the previous drive for the night, and he picks up about 4 or 5 more. We'll call it 6, and a second down and 4 coming up here for Winnipeg.
All kinds of motion in the backfield there for the Bombers before the snap. No manageable situation here for Strevler. And a sense of urgency has to kick in for Ottawa right now.
Especially against an offense that has had an ability to just kill the clock. Long drives running the ball. Red Blacks defense cannot afford that now. Not down 9. They run again, and they get close to a first down. It'll look like a 3rd and short. We got a fight going on. We got flags coming out. Tempers flaring between the Bombers and the Red Blacks. As Oliveira had got it up close.
Santos-Knox in the middle of that looked like he was indicating it's going against the Bombers, but Stanley Bryan has a different opinion.
So does Darius Mickett.
I think with these, and you know, we'll try and find the exact infraction here, but with these, offsetting is, to me, the way they always should go. I mean, 2 guys are doing something they shouldn't. Give them one, give them both a penalty, and let's move on. But we'll see what they call here.
After the plays, 2 misconduct penalties. A 15-yard misconduct penalty on 86 and a 10-yard misconduct penalty on Ottawa. It's 3rd down and 6. Winnipeg.
So a 5-yard difference in penalties announced by the referee Tim Croker. So Kevin's Clarcius, the rookie, and a costly penalty too, as they're going to have to punt the football.
Well, it sounded, that's interesting, because it sounded like the same penalty, and yet one was worth 50 and the other worth 10. And that would have been less than 1 yard away from a first down, which the Bombers would have gone short yardage, but that's a big 5 yards.
Devontae Dedmon's made a lot of big plays in just 27 games in the CFL. They get the heat on Jamison Sheehan. He gets rid of it. They need a big play from Dedmon now. The 20. Oh, he's covered well again by the Bombers. Coming down, Bailey Felt made another special teams tackle there for the former Hamilton Tiger Cat. So on comes the offense. Big night for Raquel Armstead. Talk about sitting on 99 as Oliveira was before. That's where he is now. 16 carries, 99 yards. He has a touchdown, longest to 31. So it looks like he'll get his 100, but he's trying to get Ottawa back into this game. A 2-score game right now, 22-13.
Jefferson's not out there with the Bomber defense for this first down play. Going through the rotation.
From pump fake. Has time. Can't find anyone. Takes off. The 30. Oh, he puts his head down. And he gets up to around the 35. Dustin Crum.
Well, Dustin Crum, it didn't look like he had any intention of hook slide, and that's one thing I would say. And I'm not, both of the hits that took quarterbacks that got penalties on sliding quarterbacks tonight were both penalties. However, quarterbacks do have to, if they're going to slide feet first, do it early.
1st and 10 from the Ottawa 35. Throws to the right. He completes it to Ackland. Jalen Ackland, who had a big catch in the first half, but it has been quiet since. And Ackland, 22 yards receiving coming into that play.
It's probably been the best game for the Bombers secondary all season long. I just think they are They're flying around, and both Ottawa quarterbacks have had to hang on to the ball longer than they've wanted to tonight. Of course, there was the interception by Bonds, who I think that's who's down right now.
Terrell Bonds, the injured Bomber, yes indeed, after a gain by Ackland of 7 yards, a 2nd and 3 coming up. His first year at a Tennessee State, had that big first CFL interception earlier this half. And Michael Griffin on the right, number 32, is one of their backups in the secondary. Looks like he's getting ready to come in this game. The new boundary corner for Winnipeg this year, Terrell Bonds. Red Blacks are 2-1. The Bombers 0-4.
Winnipeg's winning that giveaway takeaway category. They're +3 tonight, and it gives me an opportunity to be a little more clear on something I talked about last night. There were 5 turnovers last night by the Argos. Saskatchewan won that turnover battle, and I mentioned a stat that Dave Dickinson had given me, which is some research he did, that if you are -3 in the turnover battle, your chance of winning the game is dropped to 2%. Right now, Ottawa is a -3, but it's the differential.
It's the ratio.
Yeah,
right?
it's a difference,
right.
Not necessarily just -3.
Right.
If your defense creates 2 and you're only -1, that stat doesn't apply.
Right.
So it's we were talking about it last night because turnovers were such a huge part of that one.
So Armstead on that carry gets over 100 yards. Some pressure. Jake Thomas moving in there in Crum, but he gets away for a while. The stiff arm for Kyrie Wilson, and flags are out as Wilson shoved Crum out after he'd already gone out of bounds. And yeah, tack on 15 more for Ottawa in this drive.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness. Winnipeg number 19. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Well, first of all, the stiff arm from Crum is legal, and that push at the end of it isn't. He was well out of bounds.
Timeout, Ottawa.
Fans booing, but it's a penalty against the Bombers, and it moves it inside the Winnipeg 50 as the Red Blacks have taken a timeout here. Just 3:33 to go in a 2-possession game. Ottawa needs to get a touchdown. 1 touchdown, even not converted, puts them within a field goal, but they got to work quickly here now. And Kyrie Wilson's penalty has just improved the odds a little bit for the Red Blacks. 4-man rush. Flushed out again. Hubert chasing him. Wilson chasing him again. And you can see how quickly Wilson lets go of him as soon as he knows he's out of bounds.
And that's the decision. You know, and I know the fans hated it, and the Bomber fans watching will hate it, that penalty for 15 yards a play ago. But this is the difference in the very next play. He's got him. He runs him out of bounds. As soon as he sees the sideline, let him go. Didn't make that same decision on the other sideline.
Picks up 5. 2nd and 5. Heading down to 3 minutes left in this 4th quarter. Time again. Crum just can't find a receiver, so he does what he naturally does. He runs, and he picks up more than enough for another Ottawa first down. The 3-minute warning has been called, and the Red Blacks need another big comeback against Winnipeg. It's 22-13 Bombers. Stampeders up against the defending champions, Cody Fajardo, and the 4-0 Montreal Alouettes at home.
Best team in the league right now, the Montreal Alouettes.
Looking that way. And opening night, we were here when they put a number on Winnipeg in the Grey Cup rematch. It was all Alouettes in that game. Looking very strong, coming off a big win over Toronto.
Blitz coming.
Blitz coming. Wilson hauls him down. And Kyrie Wilson will certainly take that. And what he does to Dustin Crum there, because it's pushed Ottawa back and the clock works its way down a little further.
Well, Ottawa needs a field goal and a major to win this football game. So that's 2 possessions, and they'll probably, depending on how long they take, we're going to need an onside kick as well. If you kick the field goal now, you save a whole bunch of time.
They do run a play here, 2:42, trying to get a first down. Ackland breaks free to the 30, and he gets down inside the 30, but here we go, and the field goal unit is coming on.
Well, now you'd have to, because it's 3rd and long, but
you're thinking, worry about the clock,
first down,
kick it, right?
I was suggesting on first down. This happened last night too. On first down with 3 minutes to go, you take the 3 there, you can kick it deep for sure with about 2:45 left on the clock. Kick it deep, rely on your defense, get the ball back again. Now they have to. It's 3rd down.
They need Lewis Ward here to make it a 1-score game. He does do that. 2:25 on the clock, 22-16 the score.
Okay, so now there's lots of time to still kick it deep. Canadian football, you can get a 2 and out from your defense. You still, the Red Blacks still may get, 2 minutes left and get the ball back with a timeout. So Bombers have a timeout still, so do Ottawa. All challenges go to the command center automatically inside of 3 minutes. So this chess match in the final 3 minutes of games has been a topic of discussion all season long, because we've been in these situations all season long.
And Winnipeg, yes, has been in the situation where they haven't been able to hang on. They've been in close games. All their games except for the opener against Montreal have been very, very close. Last 3 games lost by 4 to Ottawa. That went down to the wire. Lost by 2 to BC here, and then last week losing in Calgary by a field goal in overtime.
And right now the Bombers, just you saying that and thinking about that, they are too. Yeah. That self-doubt crawls into your head a little bit when now it's a 1-possession game and you need a couple of first downs to win it, or a big drive.
Here we go. Leone kicks. Augustine and Smith are back. Smith has it at the 25. And he gets it up across the 40 to about the 42, 43-yard line. So they need a drive like they had in that 11-play one earlier that led to a touchdown. It's not so much the points, it's the time that they can take off the clock running the football.
I'll be very surprised if we see Strebler back in the pocket, slinging it down in that intermediate range. I think they're going to go with what's worked tonight, which is going to be Brady Oliveira or Strebler pressing the edges.
The running tandem of Winnipeg chewed up a lot of yardage tonight. 109 for Oliveira, 69 for Strebler. Oliveira has it. Strebler running right up to help with the blocking too. And right after, Lorenzo Malden is in on the tackle. And an Ottawa player is still down. It's a pickup of about 5 yards for the Bombers. Frankie Griffin, their will linebacker.
He's at the bottom of that pile. It's never good news when your teammates get up and wave to the trainer immediately, because they were also in the pile.
He has become a fixture on that Ottawa defense. Coming in, led them in defensive tackles with 18 in his second year out of Texas State, San Marcos.
Engaged in the O-line there. I think that's Stanley Bryant. And you're right, it looks like the elbow or arm got caught in there. He went right to that left elbow. That's good news.
So Griffin trots off, but a big play coming up here for the Ottawa defense.
Is it ever?
And Davian Taylor is in at the weak side. Linebacker spot at Griffin's. Taylor, number 43. 2nd and 5 coming up. 2:10 on the clock. There's Taylor.
You run right at him, Coach?
I'm sure that's what they're thinking.
That's Malden's side too.
2nd down, quickly throwing. Left side, 1st down. Oliveira.
Right at him.
They did go that side.
Yeah, they did. They went right at him. Taylor is the linebacker that's a little slow to release and get out there on Brady Oliveira. They go right at it. Frankie Griffin is hurt. Buck Pierce notices it. He sees that linebacker lined up. You see 41 pushed him out of bounds, or 43 I should say, but it was late.
As Griffin stays in the sidelines, 1:51 in the clock, and a 1st and 10 in the Ottawa zone for Winnipeg. Back to Oliveira, met right away, but still somehow, with Wakefield taking him down, he manages to lunge ahead for 2 or 3 yards when it looked like it could have been a loss.
So there's a couple questions. First of all, this is the play. Sergio Castillo, could he make it from here? Well, I mean, it's not a stretch.
It's not when he's hitting 60 last week in Calgary.
That's what I'm saying.
And 2 from 53. I mean, even from here, I guess the only thing I think of, though, even
is
though
the big return.
It's Devontae Dedmon standing back, and Castillo has been absolutely perfect on the night. But if he ever missed, that would be such an opportunity for Ottawa, with it being a 6-point game. Strebler takes off, being chased. Taylor's chasing him, and it looks like a face mask penalty coming up here as Taylor went in on Strebler as he gestures on what happened.
Just like
face mask. Ottawa number 43, 15 yards at the end of the play, automatic 1st down.
Frankie Griffin goes down, and 2 plays in a row right at the guy who replaces him, Darion Taylor. I mean, it wasn't intentional, but he got the face mask. It's absolutely a penalty, and Frankie Griffin back in, but now they are in field goal range, worst case scenario.
All the way down to the 29 and a 1st down and 1:22 in the clock.
And Taylor was in position to hold him short of the 1st down.
He got in on him before that 1st, but the penalty just kills them now. And Winnipeg getting closer to win number 1. Oliveira enjoys great work up front by the O-line, opening up a hole as Oliveira waltzes right through.
I was going to say that. I guarantee you, if you surveyed right now the 5 offensive linemen for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, they'd say favorite game, best game. This is our favorite game of the year.
Timeout, Ottawa.
Look at that, getting out on Ottawa. Griffin, opening up the holes, drive, blocking linebackers. This is the type of game those guys love.
Straight ahead. Seen a lot of that tonight. And the chance of a comeback this time by Ottawa looks a lot bleaker now, with Winnipeg just sensing that 1st win after what's been a difficult start for their season. As Crum talking over with Drew Brown, who got the hit of the head late. Had to leave the game in the 1st half. 2nd and 1. 1 up. 17. His first CFL start since the 19th of October 2019. And stayed with them, became an important part of that offense in the Grey Cup win after Zach Collaros took over, but having a night tonight.
Yeah, we rolled a clip earlier of Strebler talking about how cool it is with the fans here in Winnipeg and Manitoba that have followed him not only here in his first stop and down in the NFL, but also in his return, and how excited they were. He's certainly a fan favorite, and there's a whole bunch of guys impersonating him in the crowd with the fur. There's the guy.
That's the best one.
Oh, yeah.
You remember the Grey Cup parade in 2019. That's the look Chris Strebler had. No shirt and the fur coat over top. It was also a slow start to the season, but he's had easily his best night of 24. That's 22 carries. He's over 125 yards. And the talk of Strebler, I mean, you look at the passing stats. everyone. Get him a fur coat.
He needs a cowboy hat, some glasses, and a fur coat. He's right in there. No, clearly with Oliveira, this is their personality back. But I will say, and it looks like they're wrapping this up, let's not forget that Zach Collaros, was putting 250 to 300 on the board with Oliveira's 100-yard games. And if they want to keep winning now, after getting win number 1, the Bombers, they're going to have to continue to work on this, depending on how long Zach's out, to continue to work on this passing game. And, Chris Strebler's got to get more efficient in the passing game.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. 13 of 21, 127. I mean, he's not going to wow anyone with the passing tonight, and a lot of those were shorter passes.
No, and it's worked tonight, and Ottawa has sort of taken its time. It didn't react to that run fast enough tonight, but other teams will. Other teams will be game planned to stop that and make Strebler a passer. He can do it. He can do it, both his legs and his arm, but they're going to have to tighten up that passing game to keep winning.
We saw a good sample of it in 18 and 19 in his first 2 years in the CFL, what he could do. And in this case, a compliment to Collaros and that Winnipeg offense. But on a night without Collaros available, when Strebler had to come in and start, and they had to find a way to move the football and control the clock, did they ever? And Exhibit A would have to be that 11-play drive. And Castillo, a career-high 6 field goals made. September 29th, 2023 versus Toronto. He's made 5 tonight. And that was 6.
Well, to get on a roll.
There you go.
To get on a roll, Rod, you got to get the first one. And the Bombers get the first one tonight. Strebler last week threw the first touchdown pass for the Bombers on the season to Wolotarski. It was big-time run game tonight. A lot of road grading from that offensive line. And Brady Oliveira's back.
And the wind's back in Winnipeg.
There you go.
The Bombers had to find a way. Capital W. And fans can leave happier now.
Standing out ovation. Big crowd again, pushing 30,000 here tonight. Beautiful night in Winnipeg. Hey, one possession, that self-doubt creeps into your mind. They've lost some close ones with the lead going into the 4th quarter, and not tonight. They finished it off.
No team won more games in the previous 4 years than the blue and gold.
And they hadn't won at home yet, which was crazy.
Solves a lot of problems, for now anyway. We can say, for the first time in 2024, Winnipeg wins. Some satisfaction, despite all the injuries for Mike O'Shea, and Chris Strebler wins his first start back in the CFL, and Ottawa falls to 2-2, and they lose their starting quarterback, Drew Brown, for how long? We do not know, but I think the Bombers can be satisfied, as we've talked about, with doing what they had to do to win this football game tonight.
Yeah, they did exactly that. They got back to the run. They got back to their origins over the last 4 years. For the next week, we will hear the quarterback updates throughout the week on both Drew Brown and Zach Collaros. As a matter of fact, here in Winnipeg.
W for Winnipeg, W for win. And here in southern Manitoba, they celebrate. Big night by the defense. Big night on the ground. Oliveira and Strebler and that offensive line, too. Bombers host Calgary next. Ottawa goes to Edmonton. Thanks for watching Friday Night Football.